participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Welcome, everybody. This is DFG and the place to be. The man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Um, Missed last week's show. Now I'm back again. I got a decent topic for you this week. Um, Everybody's seen stuff on the internet, whether it's good, bad, happy, or sad. Generally, we think cleanliness has one standard. I'm here to tell you that might not always be true. And, we associate white with clean, black with dirty, brown somewhere in between, yellow somewhere in between. But culturally, that might not have always been the case. Now, usually my co-hosts are with me. Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl, the lady is sweet as Snapple, Miss Apple, and the woman that's never mean, always lean, my lady Bean, usually are here, but this week I'm going solo dolo. But I'm not alone though. I got my main man, Big Al, my main lady, Miss Kim. I got Miss Sum Sum. She was here. She's on. I got my people in YouTube land, Facebook land. I got my people in TikTok land. Miss Hazel Pood is sitting out there from straight from Midway, Georgia. So, just giving you a shout out. I got a couple other people on other sites, and I want y'all to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. First thing I'm gonna show you is a video. It might be a little hard to hear, but it's something you need to see. Let me see if I can get that fixed.
smell like Versailles in July. The American military had to teach soldiers how to properly wipe in Iraq because cultural norms meant they didn't clean themselves at all. Meanwhile, every indigenous culture that has survived European contact has retained some kind of wash ritual, from the Yoruba Ami Tutu to Maori Haka Rimata cleansing, from the ancient Chinese onsen systems to Aymara sacred spring baths. The logic was always the same: clean body, clean spirit. But the European, the colonizer, the barbarian with a fork and a powdered wig, he pissed where he stood and called it civilization. This isn't just a plumbing failure. This is an ethos, a historical condition, a leak through time. Gope.
Well, that was pretty interesting. Looking at this, um, it's interesting that some European Americans have the nerve of saying that other cultures are unclean when they came from uncleanliness. Now, there's some talking points that I have. One's from an article called from the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology. It's called "A Difference in Personal Care Product Use by Race and Ethnicity Among Women in California: Implication for Chemical Exposures." Um, the basic points are they did a study about 2020, and what they found was significant racial and ethnic differences exist. The study finds clear disparities in the use and selection of personal care products among Black, Latina, Vietnamese, mixed race, and white women in California. Frequency and type of product may vary. Latina women use a lot of makeup, including mascara, eyeliners, and lipstick, and they use it more frequently than other groups. Black women typically use more hair products, such as hair oils and extensions, um, but use shampoo and conditioner less frequently. Vietnamese women are the most frequent user of facial cleansing products and skin lightening creams. Latina, Black, and mixed race women are more likely to use feminine hygiene products like wipes, sprays, and washes. On these internet streets, they talk about things like, pH balance, and talk about, people walking around musty. And those things, I had a discussion not last week. Hey, sorry I missed you last week, Big Al. I know at AFCEA
Yeah.
said when I got there you were kind of not there. But you know how that goes. Um, what do you think as a man, Big Al? What do you think? And you've seen different cultures, and you've been to other countries. Um, are other cultures more or less hygienic than people in America, especially Caucasians?
I tell you, some of the worst cultures for hygiene are Turkey, Egypt, India, Pakistan. Those are just a couple, well, Afghanistan. Those are some of the countries that I've visited and spent a long period of time and rode public transportation where you almost needed to cover your nose. Uh, while they believe in taking baths, then they don't use deodorants and things to accommodate some of their body odors. Uh, I've met a number of Caucasians who are that way, and especially men. You and I worked in the same building for a long time, and it was just appalling the number of men, Caucasians, who'd go in and do number one or number two, get up and just walk right on out. And those same guys would always want to shake your hand. And I said, oh, no, not only no, but hell no. I know I just saw you in the bathroom and you're coming out and wanting to shake my hand. So I think we as a people are generally more uh, attuned to maintaining good hygiene and using perfumes, colognes, musk, hairsprays. But I've seen the direct opposite in some of those countries that I've mentioned to you. Over.
And that's and that's pretty much what I've had the issue. It wasn't the fact that they weren't clean. A lot of those other cultures, it's like they didn't use deodorant. But I mean, another thing is their diet does have something to do with it, and they don't drink as much water. So that could be kind of the other thing. And we're not used to those scents. Now, Madam D, I know that you have a lot of experience, and welcome to my show. Madam D is usually on Tantalizing Talk on Upscale Vibe Worldwide. I like to welcome her to my show. Um, and what is your experience with other cultures and cleanliness?
Um, I'm very open-minded, and I know that a lot of like religion, like hygiene-wise, that some cultures are just different. And when I went over to the university, a lot of the African people, they didn't wear deodorant because they say it covers up their body odor. Like it's not natural to have all the soaps and perfumes and stuff. And then there's some that eat a lot of garlic, so they have a lot of garlic smell. So I'm just pretty open. I mean, would I be with someone from another culture as a mate and I'm used to hygiene? Probably not. I mean, it's okay like in an educational setting or temporarily, but if I had to deal with that every day, I think I would not be able to do it.
And and that's kind of a we've seen that. Um, we've definitely seen that. I've also got another article that I want to cover quickly. It's called "The Adoption Preventive Behaviors in Response to the 2009 H1N1 Influenza Pandemic: A Multi-Ethnic Perspective." It basically covers how different ethnic groups adopted preventive behaviors during 2009 H1N1 flu pandemic, which kind of was COVID before COVID. A lot of people were catching it. It was the first year of the Obama administration, and he did a lot of things. Well, drawing on the data collected from diverse communities, the study explored factors that influence individuals' decisions to engage in actions such as hand hygiene, respiratory etiquette, and vaccination. The analysis highlights variations in risk perception, access to information, and trust in public health messaging as key drivers for adopting or resisting recommended preventive measures. Sound familiar? If it doesn't, it's the same thing that happened during COVID. Ultimately, the article underscores the need for culturally sensitive health communication strategies to improve uptake of preventive behavior in multi-ethnic populations during a public health crisis. One of the findings that they had, um, multi-ethnic communities and their behavioral responses. The key behaviors, hand washing, Big Al just talked about that. Mask usage. Now, in 2009, a lot of black people didn't wear masks, but during COVID, a lot of black people did. There were some people that didn't. And Herman Cain, if y'all remember Herman Cain, he ran in 2016, and he passed away from with a bunch of folks from COVID during the COVID pandemic. Uh, also, also things that they had was just touching folks, touching things, and what they found was that black people were more likely to do preventive measures, and it showed in even though we are affected more in during this pandemic, the last pandemic, we were affected less because we washed our hands. We used hand sanitizer. We stayed away from folks. And you know, that's more cultural. We don't want to get the whole house sick because somebody got to go to work and make that money. And a lot of other things that culturally we don't do that a lot of cultures may do. Now, I don't know about Asian cultures, but another hygiene habit that I know that us melanated black folks have is with pets. Now, three of my sisters have pets, um, dogs and cats. Two things they don't let them get on. They don't let them get on the bed, and they don't let them get on in the kitchen, on the counter, or on the stove. Now, I'm sure y'all have seen video after video after video of other people letting their dogs or their cats get on their furniture, let dogs or their cats get in on their food, um, lick them in the face after licking their private parts and stuff like that. What do you think, Miss Sum Sum? Does your dogs do that?
Hi, everybody. Oh, yes, I kiss my dogs on the mouth. We share food. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
I was about to, I was about
no.
to drop you. You about to lose your card. You missed the last meeting.
Oh my goodness. No, no, no. My dogs are not even allowed in my kitchen. They pretty much are confined to the basement, but they might come up every now and then to roam. But we don't allow them on the beds or on the couch or in the kitchen. So that's pretty much it with them. But we do love them.
Dr. Fab, welcome to the show, Dr. Fab. I don't know if do you have any pets, Dr. Fab?
No, my daughter, social media diva, does. And yes, she thinks her dog is a child. As far as that kissing and carrying on, she's one of those people. She
Social
is.
media. You let your dog kiss you on the face, lick you on the face.
Now you know what? No,
Tell the truth with that. Look, I must be blind like Stevie Wonder because I seen it happen.
Come on, social media.
SMH.
Do you do you
She
allow your
plead the
dog
fifth.
do you allow your dog to go in the kitchen? I know Dr. Fab don't let no
You
dog in
already
her
know
kitchen.
the answer to that. So he's a cute, he like a show dog, beautiful as ever. But no, he does not have the room of the home. He has a crate and he stays in the crate and she takes him out and that's that. Now, when he first come home from the groomers, he may stand in her doorway and look toward the kitchen, but he's not. We don't have that here.
Madam D.
Yeah, I had a Shepherd Lab mix, but after I got my cancer, I had to give him up because I couldn't, care for him like I did. But anyway, um, I didn't do all that. I don't believe in letting animals kiss on me because they lick their booty and they're outside and they sometimes have you can do the dewormer and stuff, but sometimes they still have parasites and stuff. And it's just not healthy to do that. But a lot of people do. My son's girlfriend that he had, she had two pets and they slept on the sofa with her. She kissed them all in the mouth and stuff. And I would not sit on the sofa because it had all that dog hair and I can't
But
stand.
but okay, was she a ceramic Camille?
She was mixed.
Mixed with German Shepherd. Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't wrap my head around that. And then having to, when you have pets in the house, some people don't care. You go over there, it's a lot of dog hair, but I can't stand it. So I was always sweeping and vacuuming because I just don't like dog hair on my clothes and stuff.
and that's understandable. That's definitely understandable. Some people are some people don't like animal hair everywhere. I'm kind of one of those people. Uh, Apple, my sister Apple, she has two, well, she has one and a half dogs because she claimed the dog's not hers, but the dog follow hers because she feeds the dog, and she has a murder cat. Um, Now, especially with Murder Cat, Apple, does Murder Cat get to get to go in the kitchen?
No, she knows better. She tries, but she knows she got a black mama. She know I don't play that. And as you see with my daughter's dog, I just have to say the word in and she's out. She don't play. She know I don't play that. You gotta go. I say in, she goes right into her crate and she behaves herself.
I was
And
gonna say that
yeah,
I would say that even though you got two dogs and a cat, you never know. If you walk into her house, you will not know that she got animals unless you see them. I will say that.
Oh
well,
no,
yeah,
Murder
that's true.
Cat.
People say
Oh,
that
you
all
gonna
the
know
time.
Murder Cat's in the house. You gonna know Murder Cat's in the house. And the story behind her cat's name is Pringles. I started calling her Murder Cat about 4 or 5 years ago because Apple had another cat, and she, from what I understand, this I don't know, it's allegedly, um, while our niece was watching the house, Murder Cat kind of nudged the other cat out the window, and she lives on the third floor. So that's why that's Pringle's name to me will forever be Murder Cat.
Pringle said that it was an accident, and I believe her. She said the other cat jumped. That's all I'm gonna say. She said the other cat jumped. They said they got tired of the rules, and she just left on her own accord. She thought she could fly. That's what Pringles told me. She innocent,
Yeah,
I tell you.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. Before we go on, I'm gonna play another video. This is from Jorge, the Vanguard, and he is ruthless, as y'all heard. And now I don't want to act right. Let me see if I can give me a second. I'm trying to be as smart as the equipment, but obviously it ain't working.
Meantime, Big Al has his hand up.
Go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about the pets. I'm not an advocate for indoor pets, but for people who do, as long as they're considerate of people who don't, enjoy having pets in the house. I've been to too many homes where cats and dogs are just kind of running free, and you see cat hairs and dog hairs floating around in the air. So that's where I draw the line. So if I were a person with indoor pets, if I had company over, I'd make sure that the pets were put in another room to be considerate of those people who may not share those same feelings.
I got you. I mean, yeah, we had growing up, we had one dog we called ET. Um Apple and Bean named the dog ET after the movie. And, and
But his real
that
name
dog,
is Khan.
oh well,
Genghis, excuse me.
we call that dog ET. Don't go there.
I know, but his real name is Genghis Khan.
Okay, Genghis Khan, but I call that dog ET. That dog loved me, even though I treated that dog like trash.
Yes, his name was E.T., even though it was Genghis Khan, but we never called him that. It was E.T.
Yes, and my name for the dog was Stupid Dog because the dog used to always be underfoot. But anyway, that dog, we lived in the projects, and the kitchen wasn't but that big, but that dog never went in that kitchen. That dog never, we barely went in that kitchen. That's another story. But anyhow, I'm going to show you. Um, this is a anti narcotics video that I want y'all to watch. It may have sounds, it may not have sounds, but you, I had to see it, so you gonna see it.
Oh my God.
For more too, I've seen it all. You bite off.
Ouch. Hang on. Fucker. Put it in my mouth.
Oh, she took a bite. That's fucking.
A crackhead will do anything.
You didn't. You probably didn't see that, but the lady, she took a desiccated feline and proceeded to chew on it.
Mm-hmm.
And and some of those people had the nerve to say that we're nasty. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. So, does anybody have a story of going to somebody's house and um it not being to the way your house would be? I'll give you a quick story. I had a friend of ours. He lived in Pominock Projects. If you don't know about Pominock, it's in Queens, New York. It's another part of New York. Um, we lived in one part of Queens. They lived in another, and we went to the apartment, and it was so how can I say this? It was so filthy that you open the door and you could smell it from the first floor, and they lived on the third floor. You know who I'm talking about, um, Pearl and Pominock, your girl truck oldest baby daddy's building.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, okay.
I'm not mentioning no names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think he and his brother still live there too.
No,
Oh, okay.
married. He's married and got his life together.
Okay, that's good. But they had pets. Well, he was Dominican, so but he was also lazy. And they didn't clean well, so they opened the door. We wanted to go to the club, and it kind of ruined our mood. Does anybody have any story like that, Miss Dream? Welcome to the show.
Well, I'm not Miss Dream, I'm Dr. Fabulous, but one of the worst smelling things is cat urine. And when I say, you know, as being an educator, children come to school and when it's cold and they put on these hoodies and they pass by you, you smell that smell. At first, you think it's body odor. And then they pass you again and they take off the jacket or whatever they're wearing, and the smell kind of fades a little bit. But because they have been in that area, it's like in their skin. And feline urine is something crucial when it dries on their clothing and they come to school smelling like that. I promise you, nothing has ever smelled that bad to me before. I couldn't even believe it, but it
And
just was cat urine.
cat urine can basically peel paint when it dries,
Yeah.
and it gets a lot of houses get, especially like when people hoard cats, a lot of houses get condemned because the ammonia from the urine seeps into the wood or whatever, and it corrodes it to the point where it can't stand. Madam D had her hand up, and then I'll get back with you, Miss Dream.
Yeah, when I worked for Department of Family and Children's Services, we went in a lot of homes that had those problems, like with pets or the people would have bed bugs and mice feces, or you may see a mouse run through there. It was just, I remember going in one, and I always, wore leggings whenever I went on my visits because people had bugs and stuff. And so I remember going in one, and this lady had a dog, and the dog had these sores on it. She said, "Oh, he's been scratching, he scratched a sore." And I just, hmm. But when you're a case manager, you have to kind of sit through it. But like Dr. Fab say, that is, like animal urine is pretty bad, especially when it's kids involved, because a lot of times if the kids are small, their parents wash their clothes and take care of them. So when they don't and they have these pets, I remember when I worked with the autistic in the adaptive classroom, and there was one girl and she would come like that all the time, and we used to just wash her clothes because we had like a because we taught life skills too. We had like a
Right. Yeah,
learning.
the washer and dryer. Yeah, and
Yeah.
most of the self-contained
Yeah.
classes have those.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad. But I think if and I know some people are homeless, because this girl, her parents, they had a home, but it was not that great. She was living in a bad situation. And when I first started and I was doing visits, and I went, and you look at the refrigerator with all this stuff in it and looked like it needed to be cleaned, and I wanted to take the kids, but the case manager had to remind me that families come with different conditions. So everybody don't have, like, we have soap and water. Everybody don't have that access. So I'm always kind of empathetic when dealing with kids. And they do have the counselors where they can give them like a little packet of hygiene stuff, like deodorant and stuff. Because
Right.
one little guy called him out, because kids was picking at him. And
Yeah.
so I got a pack, and I say, "Hey man," I say, "go in the bathroom and handle your business." I didn't, know what to say to him.
Right. Right.
But he was appreciative, because evidently he didn't have deodorant, and the kids were picking because a lot of times they don't understand. Like when Dr. Fab was saying about the cat urine, sometimes kids will pick at kids because they don't understand.
And also that child may be nose blind too,
Yeah,
because after a while you get used to it, because
yeah, you do.
you know back in the hood there'd be people that be funky, so funky they couldn't smell it.
Mm-hmm,
Everybody else could.
mm-hmm.
And I had that issue as an adolescent because I ain't like to wash. That ain't the issue now. Before I get to you, Big Al, I just wanted to hit Miss Dream. What do you have any story of a place where you just been and was like, oh God, oh my goodness?
I'm sure I have. I usually, my OCD will let me do dirty or smelly for too long. So I find nice, gentle ways to escape those situations normally, because I just be like, ugh, and I can't. I can barely. I'm sure there've been plenty. I probably blocked it out because it's not a pleasant memory. Smelly students, yes, I let them know though, because of course, working with adolescent boys, like you say, they go through that phase and then they want to hug you. And I'm just like, okay, you're not smelling that well. Therefore, you shouldn't be that close to Miss Bryan. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure all educators will probably agree with you. Go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, two quick points. First, I agree with Dr. Fabulous and Lady D on the feline urine, and especially if it's in a house where there's carpet, because once that urine gets into the carpet and gets down into that uh, foam padding under there, it's damn near impossible to get it out, even with Stanley Steamer. But to your earlier point about foods that you eat and how that affects your body odor, I was really amazed. A couple of years ago, I did a master's, and I was the oldest person in the class, and being in my early 60s. And all of the other students were in their 30s and 40s, and they thought that I was a nasty person because I take baths. I said, "You got to be kidding me." They said, "Oh, no, Mr. Morrison, we don't take baths. We just take showers." And they say, if you sit in the water, it's going to be dirty. I said, I take a shower every day, 7 days a week. And sometimes I take 2 showers, especially if I'm going to be in the yard. But you need to put your butt in some hot water with soap so that it could get into some of those places that the shower won't get into. And that may just be unique to the college here, the University of Phoenix and Augusta. But there were about 30 of us in the class, and I was the only one out of 30 that was taking a bath 4 times a week, and nobody else were taking baths. So that was really an eye opener for me.
But that, I think that's a generational thing.
Yeah, that's my point. Generation.
Yeah, because believe you me, Big Al, I takes baths. I like sitting in the tub. But most of the time, most of them, and one of the things I know, in at least in my household, I had to show my sons how to wash, and because my oldest, he would be funky, and I had he'd jump in there for like 3 4 minutes, and I had to like get him in the tub, and he's embarrassed. I'm like, I got the same thing you got, boy, and I had to show him, get the nooks and crannies and make sure that you wash, because being funky is not a pleasant to be around. You about to say something, Chalk Pearl?
Yeah, I was gonna say I have different story similar to yours. Like you said, young boys don't like to wash. Well, there's been plenty of times that my kids didn't want to wash, and they would sit in the bathroom, turn the shower on, and sit on the toilet and let the water run,
They
and
got
thinking.
that from me.
So one day, my oldest, he decided that he was gonna do that, and he came out fully dressed with his pajamas on and everything, and no towel, no washcloth, the soap just as dry as it want to be. And I'm like, did you take a shower? Yeah, but I was in there for a long time. I said, no, you ran that water for a long time, and I pay a water bill. So how about we let that water touch you? So he act like he didn't want to get in there. So he went back in there, act like he was gonna take a shower. I bust in that shower, and he had this big old dirt stain on his chest. And so I just thought it was regular dirt. So I went to wash it. It would not come off. Do you know I scrubbed that boy? So I got so mad with him. I scrubbed him so much that he bled. I wiped away skin. That's
Oh,
how bad, that's how long he has not been washing. Because
yeah.
he had a stain on his chest. Then several years later, my oldest grandson tried the same thing. He messed himself in the bed, and I made him go in there and take a shower. He go in there, he comes out fully dressed. And so kids don't like to hang, washcloths and towels up. So I go in there behind him to make sure it's hung up. It's dry as it want to be. And there's soap. What is with these kids that they act like the parents don't know? I told him, do you know I birthed 3 kids, but I raised 20. There's no way in the world that you're gonna get away with this. And he literally sat there and kept lying. I did wash. I did wash. I did wash. No, you didn't. So now
Yeah.
you see all day long. No, we're gonna go in there and shower. And I said, don't let me have to go in there and wash you for yourself. I'll go in there and wash you. He went there, he washed. He cleaned up. He actually smelled real good when it came out. Boys, they have a tendency, they don't want to wash. Why?
It's not convenient, even though you really don't start washing until women till girls say that you stink. Once girls say that you stink, then you start caring.
Yeah. When they get embarrassed, you're so right.
Hmm.
When they get embarrassed, that's when they start caring.
My oldest son was like that, but I traumatized my youngest son so much to this day. He showers 2 or 3 times a day.
Showers too much.
He showers a lot because I traumatized him bad. But the oldest one, I used to have to drag him by his head into the shower and throw him in the shower because you're not gonna be walking around smelling like outside or who
Yeah.
shot John. You're not around me.
Yeah, trust me, his brother was the same way. Said his twin was his cousin twin was the same way. I had to
But I
now
think you're right. You traumatize that first one to the next one. They were like, okay, I don't want to go through that. So they're actually start washing. So my middle child, he gets in the shower. He pays. And speaking of showers, we were saying about the bathtub. I I I love taking a bath out. Love it. But because I lived in an apartment, I don't use the tub. I don't like apartment tub. Is that weird?
no.
I want a bath so badly, but I can't get into my phobia will not allow me to get into an apartment tub. And I buy a new mat thing every day. Every day I buy every not every but like once a month I'll put a new one or I'll scrub the one that I have, the little mat, because I don't even want my feet to touch the tub.
No, I don't think that's a negative thing. It's we grew up in the project, so I can understand why you have an aversion for getting in the tub there because we had everything in that tub, laundry, dishes. And it was it was kind of traumatic. Um, but it's all of that. I say all of that to say, I don't know if y'all had because everybody in here, with the exception of probably myself and social media diva, has had a girl. Was it easier with girls, or was it just different? I'll start with you, Dream.
I would say, oops, sorry, Uh, hold on. Let me try to figure out. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, because the thing is, even my nephews, they're pretty chill. So I don't know if it's easier. I would just say it's probably different. I think girls, like one of my daughters, is definitely more challenging, my oldest one. But then I'm thinking she was probably more challenging. My youngest one was probably less challenging because, like you said, they saw how the oldest one got it, so they were like, okay, we're gonna let this lady just, we're gonna do what we need to do. But I don't know if I would say, I think they're different. And I do actually, in my mind, I think boys are a little bit more challenging, but mm, can't say for sure because I've only had girls.
What about you, Miss Kim?
Um, I didn't have any issues with my daughters and never had any opportunity to raise a, young man. So I really don't know which one would be more challenging.
Now I know. Well, Apple. What about your daughter? Vice your sons.
As far as like hygiene, it's different. She had her own set of challenges as far as that. I had to teach her things that I didn't have to teach the boys. But she's very much she takes a shower several times a day as well. I don't know if it's because she saw what I did to her older brother and she didn't want to participate in that kind of drama, or it's just because I showed her differently of, how women have to take care of their personal hygiene. So she's pretty good with it. I mean, we had some bumps in the road as she was when she was younger, as she was growing up, but she pretty much by the time she was I want to say 14, she got it under control.
And Chocolate Pearl, your daughter.
As Apple was talking, I had to think. Um, my biggest challenge with her was making sure that she cleaned her private parts properly. And the when you had your monthly, how you're supposed to dispose of certain things. So it wasn't necessarily too much on her body part. Body particularly. It was more what you're supposed to do after you done cleaned yourself and how you're supposed to handle like cutting your hair, shaving your arms and shaving your legs. Um, Believe it or not, till this day, I have to tell her, you got too much hair growing underneath it. Ask Apple. I can't stand for hair to be under somebody's arm. It just
I don't know. I think girls nowadays are a little different with that. I noticed mine. They're like, it's interesting. They go through
they
these.
they don't have it underneath their arm.
Yeah, like sometimes there will be a hot bushy mess, and I'll be like, "Oh, who is your mother?"
No, you're supposed to get
So
under
I
their
don't
arm like
know.
that. I can't. Well, she was like one day she had no sleeves on, and she lift up her arms in church and to praise God. And I just happened to turn around and I seen that it wasn't a lot, but it was just enough for me to be a little upset. And she said, keep your arms down. You got hair on your arm. She said, I know, but I don't have a razor. I need to go get some razors. How about the very next day I bought her some razors and I put it in a nice little jar. So you got plenty right there. You ain't got to worry. And then I bought the little cream, the shaving cream. Look, there you go. Then 2 weeks later, I went and bought the one that you actually take it off with the hair removal cream.
Yeah,
I
mine are
bought
hair. Yeah, mine are
it.
hair girls and wax girls. I don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
And I got wax. Ask Apple. I got wax. I got nair. I got razors. There's no reason why you should have any hair any place that you're not supposed to have it.
Well, if it grows there, it's supposed to be there. It
Kind of
just
thing.
I think the Lord made a mistake when He allowed that.
Big Al, how about your daughter? Did your daughter have any issues with that?
No, my experience is based upon raising two younger sisters, two daughters, and now five granddaughters. And all nine of them are ladies and they are daddy girls. They got to have their nails done, their toes, their hair. They are all into feminine hygiene and perfumes. So they're good. With my grandsons and sons and younger brothers, I have to make them go take a bath or take a shower because they're funky. You've been out playing ball all day. Get your butt in that tub and sit down and soak yourself. So a little more challenging with the boys than the girls.
Yeah, yeah, trust me, I know. Madam D?
So I only have one son, but he was always good on the hygiene because that's just the way I raised him and his dad, as well as his relatives. So we didn't have any issue with that because I didn't care which relative it was. If you smell, I would definitely let you know. And my younger sister, she growing up in terms of girls, we were all raised the same and taught the same about hygiene, but it just wasn't her thing. She would have the hair under her arms and different stuff. So I don't really think it's gender based. I think it just depends on the individual.
There is an individual component to it. And but a lot of times some people don't do things and then they're wondering why they're not getting the results that they want. And that's, we want to be our best, but sometimes we don't do things to get there. Miss Summer, are you still with us?
I'm here.
What about the difference with your kids?
So my kids nothing kind of like stands out to me. With my daughter, um, she caught on pretty quick about keeping herself pretty straight and things of that nature. So she's good to go. Um, she did, without going into too much detail, she's very busty. So with that, certain things, smells and stuff can come from that. So, she had to learn how to kind of take care of herself that way as well. But for the most part, my son and my daughter, they were pretty much automatic. They got it. But the only thing I can say is, going outside and playing and then coming in and smelling like outside. Oh my God. But I'm happy that they played outside and they got outside. But when they came in the house, Jesus. Um, so, it was they want to come in and eat. And I'm like, y'all go wash up before you eat. My God.
What the hell does outside smell like?
Wet dog,
Somebody.
wet dog.
Funk.
Because we all have a we all know, we've all heard that. Don't you come in here smelling like outside. Go take you a bath or shower. But nobody ever told me exactly what outside smelled like.
It just smells like outside. If you don't smell like this home, you smell like outside, and you need to go correct that.
Fair point. Definitely fair point. So it
It
could
smells
be dirt. It could be,
like
yeah.
and punk put together with corn chips.
Oh gosh, I'm thinking of Mr. Bob and Miss Betty. Oh gosh. I know y'all remember them.
Dab said if you had smell-o-vision, he could send you some every day. After they come in from PE, they funky.
Yeah, no, I trust me, I know because I don't, hey, no, I don't know about girls, but teenage boys did not use the shower in middle school. They wasn't using them, and I mean, hell, you ain't want other boys to see your junk because you ain't want you didn't know how you measured up. At least that's how I saw it. I don't know how it was in Big Al's time, but yeah, we ain't using. We were in there. You
So
hold,
y'all, so y'all rather be funky
yes,
rather than take a shower because
yes.
y'all don't want nobody else to see your junk.
That's one reason. That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
So
That's just
my grandma's brother used to talk about some of the, church ladies back in the day. And he would say, yes, sis, Miss So and so smelt a little buttony today. So that can wash up good. The old folk have words.
Whew. Yeah.
like
Say that
that.
again. Say that again, Pearl.
I said I like that. She said butt needed. I ain't never heard that before. I heard some sayings, but I had never heard that one. I like that one. I think I might have to use that one because they my kids don't like me because I have a nose like no other. I can smell you coming 12 miles away. Okay. So when I used to pick up the boys after they did their little football and the oldest did baseball and track, I had a towel on my front seat and the back seat, wherever they sat, you had to sit on that towel. You could not sit on my seat straight on because you was not gonna leave your funk in my car. I couldn't take it. I can't take the smell. I tease I tease Dabs all the time because he don't smell after he done exercise. He said, "Well, did you work out?" He didn't
Yeah, but
work. Like, did you work?
older, trust me, older men understand how to keep the funk down.
I ain't never had no problem. Actually, he never had any problem. He doesn't wear deodorant or nothing, and he does not smell. He's never wore deodorant in his entire life. He said.
Mm.
And he don't have now. Me, I'm putting it on hard. I'm just constantly just about 10 swipes, 10 swipes each arm. But no, he don't. He just wears cologne. That's it, and it's weird.
Yes, it is.
It's very. It's so weird. And then when he,
So
if,
how do y'all deal with people that, because I met a girl and she had overactive sweat glands. And
mhm,
so if she shook her hand, she would have like a handkerchief or a tissue. Have y'all
because I, yeah,
anybody like that?
I've never witnessed that, but I
I
do
have.
sweat. I do sweat a lot myself. So
Yeah, I have. It's nothing you really can do, but hopefully she has the funk part of that under control.
She did actually. She just sweat a lot, but I never did like smell her like sweaty. She would
Right.
just, her skin was just all,
Plenty of water.
yeah.
She must drink because when you drink plenty of water, you got sweat glands like that.
I think they
Huh?
call it hydrosis, I think.
Oh, for here and a little bit of my forehead.
as long as she ain't smell like like I like to call it swamp ass, she should be okay. But I knew people that had over guys and they would sweat so much that, but it wasn't funky though. Like you said, it would just come out like water. It would just be like water. And I would try to figure out why they be sweating so much. But then again, like I said, I sweat quite a bit myself. So I don't know how that works. But it is coming. We're coming up on that time to get ready to close the show. And I want to thank everybody who's come on and bringing us all your good takes, and hopefully we all learned something, and we have and we're bringing it close, we're bringing it home. um Before we go, uh Chocolate Pearl, do you have anything?
Thank y'all for joining us today. And if you know someone that's not very smell attractive, say something nice, but make it to a point where they understand what you're trying to tell them to go wash their funky behind or put some deodorant on. But
A-
because there's a lot of times that you don't do that. So yes, make sure you do that. And thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm doing this for Beanie.
all right, Apple.
Good night, everyone. I don't have anything to say behind that because that was funny to me. Because me, I'll just say it like, excuse me, you don't smell very nice. You need to go bathe or you need help. But that's just me.
Yes, I understand. I definitely understand. The thing is, though, is you always be honest. You don't have to be brutal.
Right.
You can tell there are ways of telling somebody they need to wash, but sometimes you just gotta tell them straight up, look, you stink. Go walk, go wash your behind. Go wash underneath your arms because you're funky. And they might not like what you have to say, but they'll respect that you said it. Because if you love somebody, you tell them when they're wrong. And that's just how it is.
I did have
But
one thing to say, one quick thing. I do remember when I was growing up with our other sister Tiny. We would go to the same school because we was in the same grade and everything. And somebody told us that we stank one time. From that point on, we carried a washcloth, uh, deodorant, washcloth, and some soap in a baggie, and we carried it every day just in case we stank. We could go in there and wash. That might be something that people need to carry nowadays to make sure that they're not offending anybody else's nose.
some wet wipes, um,
You
you
know,
know,
back then they didn't have no wet wipes, so
oh,
that's
I know, but I'm talking about today. You can carry some wet wipes. There's so many things that you can use to knock that funk right on out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I think we still have to have sensitivity because some people have medical conditions that make them smell. So what we see on the outside sometimes is not the backstory.
and also mental health issues can also affect your
Exactly.
hygiene routines, and that's but you know that requires, Madam D, I agree, but that requires you to get to know the person, because sometimes you may just you know if you don't know the person, you may kind of be averse to saying things in a certain way, but that doesn't mean they don't stink. If you say, hey, you're not smelling kind of fresh, and they say, well, I have this condition that causes this. Okay, I understand. May not like it, but you definitely understand, and you can deal with it accordingly. But like I said, you have to get to know people, and that's the thing that we don't do as much as we used to. That could be social media, that could be other issues, but we don't always know who we talking to. And I don't mean that in a you know who you're talking to, but you don't know who you're talking to, because you could talk to your friends that you've known for years differently than you talk to somebody you met 10 years ago or even yesterday. And that's all I'm saying is that, yes, be aware of other people's situation, because other people may not have it like you. Other people not be in your situation. Always show compassion. It's nice to be good, but it's always good to be nice. So so be like that. Join us every Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern. We're here most Tuesdays, and if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. Y'all be good. This is DFG. Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbor's ain't.